Hi! Welcome to this video. In this jewelry making video, I will show you how to make a necklace using magnesite beads and these black wooden beads. Now, in order to make the necklace, we should need some string, some thread. I have chosen some black nylon thread and also some findings. In order to close the bracelet, I will need this clasp, S-shaped clasp. I will need some jump rings, 2 jump rings. I will also need some bead ends, like these. And some crimps. Regarding the length of the thread, as you can see here, these magnesite beads, which are pointed, have 2 orifices. Therefore, I will use a double string like this, a double yarn. The length of a necklace, which is situated around the neck, so a shorter necklace, for women, is about 40 centimeters long for women, and you can add a few centimeters for the necklaces for men. For example, you can make it 46 or 47 centimeters for men, and that would be about 15.5 inches for women and perhaps 17 or 18 inches for a necklace for men. So this is why I will cut the double of that length for my necklace. So it will be 80 centimeters long, this cord, this thread, and that would be about 32 inches long. 30 to 32 inches long. Of course, to that you have to add a bit of thread so that you can make the knots. So it will be like 34 inches long and 80, let's say 85, 86 centimeters long, together with the length of the thread that I will use for creating the knots. And of course, beside the beads and the findings, we shall also need some tools. For my jump rings and for bending metal, I will use these chain nose pliers. Also for the jump rings, I have this jump ring opener, or I will use a second pair of pliers. For the thread, I will use a pair of scissors and a lighter. And for the crimps, I can use either the chain nose pliers or the crimping pliers. The last item, the last tool that we need in order to make the necklace will be a needle, the big eye beading needle, which I will use in order to put the beads on the thread. So let's begin creating this necklace. So the first step will be to put the thread on this needle. I will take one of those crimps So this is the crimp that I will use. And I will put it on our needle. This way. And I will try to find the middle of our thread. So this should be the middle point of our thread. Now I will make a knot here so that it does not move. And we have established which the precise middle point is for our bracelet, for our necklace, sorry. So this will be one end of our necklace. Now I will take both threads, put them into the needle, and I will take one of those bead caps and also put it on our needle, like this. And as you can see now, let's see from a closer distance. As you can see now, the crimp is inside the bead cap, and it will not come out through the orifice of the bead cap. Now we can close the bead cap using the pliers, and the crimp that is inside will no longer be visible, like this. So I've closed this bead end, and now we can add our clasp. I will take one of those jump rings and open the jump ring using the chain nose pliers and the jump ring opener, like this. I hope I opened the jump ring enough so that it goes through the clasp, like this. So I put the jump ring on the clasp, and I will also put the jump ring through our bead end, like this. And now let's close the jump ring. Like this. And I have added the clasp to the end of our necklace. So now let's start creating the necklace. Whenever we make a necklace and we have different types of beads, we have to think about the fact that we have to calculate the number of beads that we have so that we have a symmetry of the necklace that we create. So I will begin by putting 24 beads of 24 black beads, after which I will start adding the white beads, the stone beads. So let's start putting the black beads. So these are 10, and I'll add another 14 beads. So here we have 24 beads. Now let's make a small measurement so that we can understand exactly what dimensions the necklace will have. So as you can see here, this bead is about 5 millimeters. About a quarter of an inch. One bead, whereas the stone bead is a bit larger than half an inch, and it is about 1 centimeter and a half, almost 2 centimeters, 1 centimeter and a half long. Now we shall add the first white stone bead. I shall remove one of the threads, and I will keep only one of those 2 threads. So I'll put one of the threads through the white bead, remove it, and then I take the second thread and put it through the bead, through the other orifice of the bead, like this. And we have added the first stone bead, like this. Now, again, I will take the needle and the 2 threads and add a few more beads. So I will put 3 black beads, like this. I'll remove the needle, and again I will work with the 2 separate threads. I will take one of those stone beads and put the 2 threads through the 2 orifices of the stone bead. Now again, I will add 3 black beads, and I will put the central bead. Like this. So this will be our central bead, and again 3 black beads, another white bead, again I'll add 3 black beads, and the last black bead, white bead, sorry. One and the second thread. This way. Now I have created the central part of our necklace, and I will add another 24 beads on this, black beads on this side. Then another 10. and another 4. And I can remove the needle. And now let's close the necklace. Now we have to put the bead end on our thread. I will open the bead end so that I can work inside this bead end, because we shall have to make a knot. So I will take the bead end and put it on the needle, like this. And now I will take a crimp and also put it on this needle. So I will take this crimp and put it on the needle. This way. So as you can see, I have the bead end and the crimp here on this needle. And now that we have the bead cap, the bead end on our threads, I will take a crimp and I will put one of the threads on the needle, and I will take the crimp and put the crimp on the needle as well, like this. And on one of the threads I will remove the needle, and as you can see, we have put on the threads the bead end, and on one of those two threads the crimp. Now, whenever we make the necklace, we must make sure that the beads are neither too compressed, too close to each other, nor that they are too far away from each other, because if they are too far away we shall see the thread, but if they are too compressed they will look rigid. So we have to give a little space to this thread, so the beads must not be too tight together. And now I will take the two threads, let's see from a closer distance, and I will make a knot with those two threads. So I made one knot. Let's make another 1 or 2 knots so that the thread does not open. And this way the crimp will remain inside our bead end here and will prevent the thread from sliding. Now I've made a few knots on the thread, and I can cut the thread like this. I will take the lighter and burn the end of the thread. This way the end of the thread will stick to the knot and will prevent the knot from opening, and now I can close the bead end. I will take the pliers and close the bead end. This way. And I will take the jump ring and I will open it and attach it to this bead end. So I'll put it through the orifice of this bead end like this and close it. This way. And now let's see if the necklace clasp opens and closes. So this is our S-shaped clasp. And let's see what our necklace, finished necklace, looks like. So this is what the finished necklace looks like. I hope you liked this video, and I hope that you now know how to create a necklace of this type and how to attach this type of clasp. Thank you for watching. Hi, welcome to this video. In this video I will show you how to create a surf necklace using turquoise, coral beads and beads in the color of bone. Of course, to create the necklace I will need first of all some findings, and I will use a lobster claw clasp to open and close the necklace. I will also need some jump rings and some bead ends. I will also need some crimps and in order to assemble them I will also need tools. I will need thread. I have chosen some nylon, black nylon thread, in order to put the beads on this thread. And as tools I will need pliers, a big eye beading needle, this needle. For the thread I will use a pair of scissors and a lighter. To measure the thread I will use measuring tape, and to open and to close the jump rings I will need a pair of pliers and a jump ring. And now let's begin by measuring the length of our thread. First of all, For necklace, a surf necklace that is around the neck for women, you need about 34 to 35 centimeters. So this would be the length of the necklace itself. That would be about 14 inches, 13 and a half to 14 inches for women. For men, you can add 1 or 1.5 inches for the necklaces for men, so they could vary between 14 and a half to 16 inches. That would be about 37 to 41 centimeters if you want to make a necklace for men. And to this length, you should also add a few inches to the thread so that you can put the thread on the needle and that you can make the knots. So you should add some extra thread so that you could create the ends of your necklace. I recommend that you measure exactly the circumference of the neck if you know the person for whom you want to make the necklace, or if you want to make the necklace for yourself. And now, after I have explained to you what findings, what tools we need, what beads we need for this necklace, let's start making the surf necklace. I will put the thread on the needle. And now let's start making the preparing the thread. I will make a knot at the end of my thread here. I will try to make a larger knot. Let's make one more knot so that the knot at the end of our thread is large enough so that the beads don't fall off. Like this. And now I will take the lighter, burn the end of the thread like this, and I will take one of the crimps and put it on the needle. So this is the crimp. And I'll put the crimp on the needle like this. And the crimp will stop next to our knot. Now, I'll cut the threads here. Now, what we shall do next is that I will take the pliers and I will press on our crimp to make the crimp flat, like this, so the crimp will not slip over our knot. So as you can see, now our crimp is no longer round, it is flat and it presses on the thread and it stops in the knot. Like this. And now let's take one of those, the bead ends, and I will put the bead end on my needle. This way. And it will stop in our crimp here. So now, as you can see, this bead end is going to cover the knot and the crimp. Let's take the pliers again, and I will press on the pliers to close this bead end like this. And as you can see, our bead end covers the knot and covers the crimp so that they are no longer visible. This is why when you make a knot, you can make the knot as large as you like, so that it doesn't come out, the thread doesn't come out, because even if the knot doesn't look aesthetic, it will be covered by this bead end and it will be invisible. And now I will take the lobster claw clasp and put it on our bead end here. And I will take the pliers and close this bead end like this. This way. So now, as you can see, the end of our necklace is ready. And now we can start putting the beads. So I will take the first bead and put it on the needle like this. And now I will take some white beads in the bone color. Now let's start adding the turquoise beads. So I'll put a turquoise bead another turquoise bead, a coral bead, and then another 2 turquoise beads, this way. Like this. And now let's continue adding white beads in the color of bone. So what's important is to always count the number of beads so that the beads that we add should be in the same length and they should look symmetrical. So I will add another 10 white beads in the color of bone, and then I will add again turquoise and coral beads using the same pattern. And I will continue until I reach the end of my necklace. So let's continue adding the white bone color beads and then the turquoise and coral. So this is the sequence. And we shall continue using the same sequence of beads. And now we have reached the end of the necklace and we shall close the necklace. First of all, I will take the bead end and open it. So I will open the bead end as much as possible so that I can work inside of the bead end, because I will need to make some knots here inside of the bead end. So I opened it and I will put the bead end on my needle like this. Now I will take another crimp So I will take this crimp and put it also on the needle, like this. So as you can see, I have the bead end and the crimp here. Now, when I let's remove the needle. When I close the necklace, I must make sure that the beads are not too compressed like this, so that they are not pressing too much on each other. They are not too close to each other like this, because they will look rigid. So if the beads are too compressed, they will look rigid like this and not uniform. They shouldn't be too loose either, because you can see the thread if the beads are too loose. So usually I will leave about 1 millimeter here, and then I will take the pliers, let's see from a closer distance, like this. So as you can see, this is the crimp, and at a distance of about 1 millimeter from the end of my beads, where the beads stop, like this, I will grab the crimp with the pliers and I will press on the crimp, like this. and our crimp will press on the thread. So as you can see, the crimp is flat now and it presses on the thread. So above the crimp I will make some knots to prevent the crimp from sliding on the thread and the necklace from opening. So right above the crimp that I have pressed, I will make these small knots. And my knots will be here at this point so that the crimp cannot slide upward on our thread. So it will stop in my knot. Let's make another knot. As I said, here I can make as many knots as I like because they will be covered by the bead end and they will not be visible. Like this. And now with the scissors I will cut the thread like this. So I cut the thread. I will take the lighter and burn the end of the thread like this. And now I can take the pliers and close the bead end. Like this. I've closed the bead end. And now here I have this hook of the bead end. I will put the jump ring, take the pliers and close this hook here, like this. And as you can see, I have closed the end of the necklace like this. And let's see if the lobster claw clasp opens and closes my necklace. So this is the closure of my necklace, and now let's see what the finished necklace with coral, turquoise and bone beads looks like. So this is the finished necklace, surf necklace, and as you can see, we only need a few findings, some thread and the beads in order to make this simple necklace. I hope you like the necklace, and thank you for watching. Hi! In this video I will show you how to create a necklace using beads and some metal charms. Now, in order to create the necklace, we shall need some findings and some tools. As findings, I will use these crimps. I will use this S-shaped clasp, some jump rings, and some bead ends. I will also need some thread and to assemble the beads and the findings I will use tools. First of all, I will need a pair of chain nose pliers. I will need a big eye beading needle, a jump ring opener. I will also have this pair of pliers on the table in case I need two pliers to open and to close the jump rings. I will use a measuring tape to see how long the necklace should be. And for the thread, for the nylon thread, I will need a pair of scissors to cut the thread and a lighter to burn the end of the thread. Let's take the big eye beading needle and let's begin making the necklace. The first step is to measure the length of the necklace. The length of the necklace around the neck is going to be of about 36 centimeters, that is about 14 inches. If you want to make a necklace for a man, you can add 1 or 2 inches to the length of the necklace. That would be 15, 15 and a half or 16 inches, or 39 to 41 centimeters for the necklace alone. When you cut the thread, you can add a few more inches, 3 or 4 inches to the thread at least, so that you can make the knots at both ends. That would be a maximum of 50 centimeters. Because you will have to put the thread on the needle, and if you do not have an extra 1, 2 or 3 inches of thread, you will not be able to use the needle because the thread will be too short. And now let's begin by creating a knot at the end of the thread. Now that I have created the knot, I will take the lighter and burn the end of this knot like this. I will put the thread on the needle like this. You have to take into consideration that sometimes this point here of the thread may be cut by the needle, because the inside of the needle is sometimes a little sharp. So you have to be attentive that this bit of thread should be cut away. So you should put enough thread so that you can cut this last bit of thread, because it is a possibility that the needle may cut the thread. And now I shall take one of those crimps so this crimp, and I will put the crimp on the needle like this. This way, and as you can see, the crimp has stopped in the knot. Now I will take the pliers and press on the crimp this way to make the crimp flat, so that it no longer moves on our thread. Now I will take the bead cap and I will put the bead cap on my needle this way. And now I will close the bead cap using the pliers so that the knot and the crimp remain inside the cap. Now I will take one of those jump rings, open the jump ring, I will put the jump ring on the S clasp and I will close it. And now I will put the jump ring and the S S clasp on the bead cap, and I will take the pliers. So I took a pair of pliers that is more pointed. These are the round nose pliers. They are usually used for creating loops, but because the pliers have a smaller tip here, I will use them this time in order to close the necklace like this. And as you can see, now I have attached the clasp. Now the end of my necklace is ready and we can begin adding the beads. So I shall start adding the beads in a specific order so that they form a pattern of black and white beads. Now at this point I will start adding the metal charms. I will add the first metal charm, the smaller one. Then I will add some beads. I will add the second metal charm. Again, some beads. And now I will add this metal charm which will mark the middle of my necklace, the center of my necklace, this way. And now that we have reached the middle of the necklace, let's create the rest of the necklace so that it is symmetrical to the first part. So again, I will put black and white beads. Then the second, the small metal charm. And from this point on I will only add beads. No more metal charms. This way. And now, as you can see, I added all the beads and we have to add the bead end. I will open this bead end like this so that I can work inside the bead end. I will put the bead end on my needle like this. Now I will take another crimp so I will take this crimp and put the crimp on the needle this way. I will remove the needle from the thread. I will take the pliers and press on the crimp. Whenever you make a necklace or a bracelet, you have to take into consideration that the beads should not be too far away from each other so that the thread is visible, but they should also not be too compressed, too tight next to each other, because as you can see, if they press too much on one another, the necklace will look rigid. So they have to be a little loose, but not too loose so that the thread becomes visible. You can leave about 1 millimeter space here so that the beads have a bit of space to move, that they are not too compressed, but they should also not be too loose. Like this. So I have pressed on the crimp here, and the crimp will block the thread from moving up and down. This way. And now I will start making some knots above the crimp to make sure that the crimp does not slip from the thread. So this is the reason why I had to open the bead end so much, so that I could have enough space to make the knot right above the crimp. So I'll make a few knots, just like at the beginning. Now, as you can see, on the thread inside of the bead cap we have the flattened crimp, and right above the crimp I made a few knots. So this way the thread will not slip out of the bead end, and the the beads of the necklace will not fall off. Now let's cut the thread above the knot. Like this. I will take the lighter and burn the end of the thread, like this, and I will close the bead cap so that the knot is no longer visible and the crimp. So I will use the pliers, and as you can see I have closed the bead cap. And now I will take the last finding, the jump ring, put it on the hook of the bead cap, and I will also take the round nose pliers to close the bead end. Because the round nose pliers have a smaller tip here, so I can grab the small items easier this way. And now I have closed the necklace. I will put all the tools away. Let's see what the closure of the necklace looks like. So this is the necklace closure. And let's see what the finished necklace looks like. So this is the finished necklace with the S clasp and with the metal charm ornaments. So I hope you liked this video and thank you for watching.